I will tell you, that's one of the beauties of this, is when you have standards, it's amazing how, and you know how to communicate them and you stick to them, it's amazing how people will start showing up that have those same standards, and they literally look at you like, are you for real? I've been looking for you my whole life.
Hello everyone, we are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're super excited. We're going to keep talking here about friendships, friendship levels, and then how to apply it to your family. It's such a good topic. It's one of those ones that we keep coming back to and referencing, especially with our kids, that they continue to be in new, different situations with new friends. And again, as you and I have continued to learn the differences of the different levels of friendships.
I have a question for you. Did you ever hear about the red and the blue ships that collided?
Definitely not.
All the sailors were marooned.
That's so good. Let's stay focused on friendships.
All right. So,
all right, moving on here.
What we want to talk about now is let's go through a little bit, because I think it'd be helpful for people to actually be able to do this, to understand. Like, people are like, well, how do you determine, how would you decide what's going to be like a category B, a deeper level kind of friendship? And, we had to work out some of our relationship standards over time. Lots of conversations, lots of like, let's try this. And then we were like, we need to add this in. And this is who we've grown to be now. And, so I'll go through this list here. This is our list. Everybody out there, you got to make your own list, of course. But these aren't in any particular order because they're all important to Jackie and I. But, one of our traits, one of our characteristics for someone to go to a deeper level with us is, number one, our friends need to be our friends. Mm-hmm. Right. In other words, they got to have equal respect and relational standards, but with both myself and my wife, right? I mean, me and Jackie, we're together forever, and we want friends that applaud that, they encourage that, they support that, and they even protect that. I mean, for us, our ultimate best friends, like there's a category in our family or in our lives that is the deepest level, and that is you and me, and that is our kids and us, mm-hmm. right? And nothing is really going to get within a level like that, of course. But at the same time, we want to make sure that when we do start having these friends, because they do matter, and we want our kids to embrace this as well, is that, it's our friends got to be our friends.
Yeah, and that means a level of respect. For you and I, we've just made the decision that it's best that, people don't try to keep things from each of us. We are very open with each other about everything. Yeah. We share everything. And we just really enjoy knowing that our friends are understanding that really we're one. Yeah. And that, so when they come to you or me for something, we're going to discuss it with each other because we're some of the best people to discuss our friends with each other with.
Yeah, if somebody ever comes to me and says, hey man, I need to tell you something, I just want you to keep it in confidence, I'm just be like, okay, but you just so you know, confidence to me means me and my wife know, right? I'm not keeping secrets from my wife, and I like people that really respect that and honor that, and I think other people would, that we would be that level of friendship with, would honor that, right?
Yeah, and I think too, saying that up front makes all the difference in the world. Mm-hmm. It's never something like, yeah, okay, this one time.
Right.
We just stay real honest, like, I understand, but I'm going to chat with Greg about it. So if that's going to be a problem, I'm probably not the person to share it with.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. Because sometimes people say, okay, then I don't really feel comfortable about it.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Another big thing for us is we love our friends to be givers. We are givers. And that means in all areas of life. We believe in sharing, giving, serving, loving, caring.
Yeah.
And that comes in different forms.
Yeah.
that can be sometimes financial, sometimes that can be with your time, sometimes that can be just with, who you associate with and bring them into association with. Some of that can be deep connection time, some of it can be fun time, but we are givers of ourselves, our family, and we enjoy having deep connected relationships with people that want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Kingdom builders.
We love being generous, and we love being with people who are generous, and it's just part of who they are. I mean, how many dinners do we have now with our friends? And it's like you almost have to creatively call in advance and like put a credit card down so they can't get there and sneak to the bathroom when dinner's done and go find the waitress and try to pay, without us doing it. I mean, it's kind of fun. We have
game going on.
It is. It's like a contest with who can, out bless each other.
And that goes in all areas. You know what I mean? Like even in, where we give money to other people. We love sowing in to whomever God tells us to sow into. And like I said, sometimes that's financially. And that feels so good to be with people, living in a community, living life with others that love to do the same thing. That feel like it's a gift that we get to give. Not that I have to give, but I want to give. I passionately care about what God wants, and I want to give towards it.
Whatever you put out there, you're going to get back. If you honor, you're going to get honor. If you're generous, you're going to have generosity given back to you. I mean, it's a principle. God said, you will reap what you sow. And so we like people who understand that principle. Another principle for us or standard for us is that our friends, they need to be growers.
Yes, they got to be working on themselves.
I mean, we spend so much time personally and professionally developing ourselves. It's just like such a part of our life that literally, I mean, one of our philosophies, I learned this from one of my friends / mentors. He said, I want to work so hard on myself that when you see me in a year, I'll have to reintroduce myself to you. Right. And I learned that, and it's like a powerful thing because there's a lot to learn, a lot of great stuff out there, and it's fun. It's fun when you have habits in place, and you wake up in the morning and you're reading your stuff like I always see you doing, and I have different. I got an audiobook in my ear nonstop, and right. I mean, we just like to be growers. So when for us to have the next level of friendships, if they're not growers, then what happens is you outgrow them in a short amount of time, and it creates a distance over time.
Yeah, we want dreamers in our life. Ones that pull us to accomplish some of our dreams and ones that we can pull to accomplish their dreams. And sometimes that means we're doing dreams together, and sometimes that means it's individual, but we're always excited to hear about what each other are doing.
And that's really our fourth one, that for people to be at a next level of friendship for us, they got to be dreamers. Like they got to dream big. You know what I mean? I mean, no, they don't have to be motivated. They don't look for us to motivate them. No. They're already really motivated. I mean, they're always thinking about 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. We're always talking about visions. We're always talking about changing the world together for the better. We're even when they do accomplish new things, we celebrate, but they don't really ever arrive because they know there's still more to achieve and to press forward, and they don't quit ever. They're always striving to become something greater so that they can do something even more significant until the day they leave this earth and go to heaven.
Right.
Right.
Another great one for us is you have to care about parenting your children. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, if we have this podcast going on, our heart that our children and really the next generations mean so much to us.
Yeah.
I've just seen so many examples where there's just parents that, for whatever reason, whether they're scared, whether they don't know how, whether they just feel like they don't have the time or they don't want to, not take the time to parent their kids. And those children are the next up and coming of what's coming in this world. And I just feel like it's our responsibility to own it and to do something about it. And if our friends don't really care about that and they just kind of are like, well, it is what it is, kids will do what they want. And then, at 18, it's not my problem anymore.
Yeah, that's so not who we philosophy. Are. Like, we're so opposite of that, that it really makes it so it's hard for us to have a deeper level of, because it's just such, we don't even know how to concept that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't connect at all.
And we're not judging. It's just like, it just would be hard to have a deep friendship that way,
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one would be, we really like friends to be committed to longer lasting friendships. Like we like people who they want to do life and do life big with other people. Like we like that. We like having a handful of close friends that we get to have lots of experiences, and we're accomplishing things. We know how to celebrate. And when 10 years goes by, we're looking at pictures when we were together 10 years prior and look at how far we've come. And, but somebody has to be committed to that. And some people care more about that than others, but we do. Like that's a big thing for us. We want to be able to invest who we are into people, and we want them to be able to invest into us. And we don't want to just keep starting over all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah. Those are a couple of ours. I mean, always it's developing more as we're developing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's another one here that is a big one, and that our friends are true forgivers, right? And because this one we have found is so needed. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of us get taught growing up like, well, if somebody wrongs me, then, that's it. I'm done with them. And it's such an ungodly principle,
Really unhealthy.
And so, and the thing is, with all the other standards that we have and just the lifestyle that we live, big family, trying to do big things, kingdom building new businesses, being Holy Spirit led, just like living this adventure the kind of way that we like to. The faster that you drive in life, the more bugs splatter on your windshield.
Mm-hmm.
The more chances you take, the more mistakes you're going to make. And so as high performing, territory taking, dream chasing, world changing people, we're always pushing the limits, and therefore we're going to make mistakes. And there's nothing harder than trying to build a long-term friendship when someone's not a forgiver. And it's like, if you make one mistake, then probably the relationship's over. I don't even want to invest. I don't even want to be around that.
Yeah,
right?
it's something that doesn't even resonate with us.
Yeah.
Because we already all know we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So which one causes you to not want to be my friend? That's so stressful in life.
Yeah.
Like that's just too stressful. And again, it goes back to, because of these being our standards, that's how we teach our kids.
Yeah.
Just to kind of bring it around again. We have helped our kids have standards for their friendships and the different levels of friendships they have also. Mm-hmm. And that way it makes it a little bit easier when situations happen with quote unquote their friends. We can explain to them, well, what category was this friend in?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's helped a lot, especially as the kids have gotten older, explaining to them situations that, they don't plan on being in sometimes.
Yeah.
I've had kids come home from school stuff, sports stuff, whatever. So-and-so, was not nice to me. They wouldn't let me sit with them. They said I'm not welcome. They didn't want to be my friend. They were talking nasty. They were not includers.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. And that's part of life. I mean, we can't control everybody else's kids, right? But being able to sit down with your kids and say, okay, well, let's talk about this. What are some of the standards that we have for your friendships? What are some standards you have for your friendships?
Sure.
And helping our children understand the value of themselves. So when those situations come up, they can think to themselves, this isn't a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, just having relationship standards to begin with and actually taking time to think them through and actually be intentional about it lets our kids know that you're valuable enough to actually be able to choose the right friends and not have to settle for the wrong ones. Just to kind of finish this part here, though, so that's one of our last ones, is that, our friends are true forgivers. We have a philosophy. We've talked about it a little bit in the past on some of our podcasts about how, and if somebody did make a big mistake, how do you handle it? How do you handle it when you have a real friendship? And it's reminding them of their greatness, helping them overcome the failure, and then reminding them they can be better leaders than they ever could have been prior to. And it's so powerful because, that whole concept of, if you ask for genuine forgiveness after we've had some kind of a situation, and you really can restore the standard where it is like it never happened, like there's not some kind of a log being kept of the wrongs you've done. I mean, it allows you to really move past. I mean, we've experienced it. I've had really, friends that have become very close to me, and then we've had some differences and some hurts in there, and it was real, like it wasn't fake. But you know what? Over time, we worked it out. We kept pressing into each other, even though it was challenging. And then it came to a point of like genuine, like asking for forgiveness, and there was genuine forgiveness, and we've let it go. We've never had, and honestly, we're stronger because of it ever since. And there's something powerful in that. And I think that when you're establishing intentional friendships that you're trying to have as a deeper level, I don't even know how you're going to be able to do it if you don't come up with some kind of philosophy of how to handle conflict and then how you're going to handle forgiveness, because it's going to be needed for a long-term, lifelong friendship, right?
Well, of course. I mean, if you're going to have a lifelong one, it will matter.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important up front to understand what your standards are so that you can each remind each other when somebody doesn't fit into maybe the different levels, so when somebody is not doing some of the things that you would expect in a level, B or C friendship, you can remind yourself right now, they're really comfortable in the A. Yeah. I can't try to make them something they're not, and I think that's a really good point because so many times if we don't have enough relationships built, we try to put friends in levels that they don't really want to be in or that you wouldn't choose had you not gone out and made other connections in other ways.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important for us to just remind everybody that we were never meant to be alone.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have community, but you don't have to just settle with where you live or where you work or what school or what sports program.
Right.
You have the opportunity, especially in today's world, with things like Zooms and phone calls and planes and, all this kind of stuff. You can go visit and keep connections going if they matter.
Right. That's why this is so vital, and we'll wrap this one up here in the next few minutes, but just some real practical things about friendship. See it, we're going to talk next episode about how we inject this into our children a little bit more, but just I don't know how we would inject it into our kids if we don't do it. So for those parents out there, if you don't take the time to really get intentional, and really put some action items behind this topic. In other words, number one, get really crystal clear on your standards that you're going to have. What will you demand in a relationship? What can you do with? What can you do with? What can you not do without? And what will you not tolerate? Right? You got to set that up, and then you got to exercise. And then what you do want, you got to be intentional about starting to exercise what you do want. If you want friends that are very kind or very responsible or very respectful or very responsive, then you have to model that, right? It's like you set your standard, even though the standard seems like, man, maybe I don't know if these people exist. And then what you do is you start working on you so much that you can attract these friendships mostly by modeling what you're trying to attract, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the important things. It starts with you. That's the biggest thing there is that you have to start with the standards. You have to apply it and then see who is attracted to that. Who wants that in their life, and then you can go deeper. Right.
And then number two, like a practical thing, get rid of the anchors in your life.
Yeah, I have it written down too.
Oh my gosh. I think, we should every 6 to 12 months kind of evaluate with some of the key people in our life. Are they an asset or are they an anchor? And I know it can sound almost a little bit cold, but the reality is one of the things you'll really realize from this is that people treat you the way you teach them to treat you, whether you know you're doing it or not. So you have to establish what are your deal breakers. What are you absolutely unwilling to tolerate in our lives of our friend. Like for us, it's like chronic negativity. We're not dealing with that. Dishonesty. We're not going there. Irresponsibility. Like laziness. We don't hang out with lazy people. How about victim mentality? Right.
Or disrespect or not appreciating or, again, pretty much everything in our standards. If you're not a giver, we don't tolerate that. If you're not a dreamer, we don't tolerate that. And I wrote down here too, life is too short. Live life the way you want to with the right people.
Yeah, I 100% agree life is too short because, it's like, and it's precious, right? And so, I know we live in this PC world where we're supposed to just like accept everything that someone somewhere tells us to accept. And that's garbage, right? It doesn't work. That's why there's so many unhappy people and so many people aren't getting anywhere. So I won't get on my soapbox about this, but at the same time, that ain't what we're doing. We are setting some standards up, and we're going to find people who also want standards. I will tell you, that's one of the beauties of this, is when you have standards, it's amazing how, and you know how to communicate them and you stick to them, it's amazing how people will start showing up that have those same standards, and they literally look at you like, are you for real? I've been looking for you my whole life.
Well, and the neat thing about that is as we keep ours going, we'll talk about it in the next one, is how your kids, our kids, everyone's kids, sees how you model this, and then they naturally like, oh, that's how it works? That's what I want in my life too.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have real friends that I can live a life with. And I get it. We're talking about, in the next one, we'll talk a little deeper, what it looks like for a 4-year-old all the way up to, teenagers. But, it's just so important. I think so many times it's not always what we say, like we hear all the time. It's not just what we say, but it's what our kids see.
Yeah.
And if they see that we are tolerating things that don't live up to what mom and dad have always talked about, they are questioning what else
Yeah.
do they not understand about what we're doing.
Yeah. Another actionable item is just to position yourself to almost be able to have these relationships show up. In other words, if you're looking for ambitious people as one of your standards, where do ambitious people hang out? What do they do? How do you get into those circles where there's other ambitious people? Some of our favorite things right now are like masterminds and, being part of groups that are working on big projects together, that have big visions together. And we're finding some great friends there, because they just show up out of they already live one of the standards we have. So it's a good starting point. You know what I mean? So just being intentional about that. And so anyways, I think we've hit this topic pretty good. It's such a big one. We could talk about this one for days, but let's take the next episode though, and let's talk about how we inject this into our children.
Yeah, that's the important part. Let's move on to the next one so they can hear that.
Right on. I'll have more jokes too. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. And we have great news. You get more of us. You can expect new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. So be sure to consistently tune in with us and enjoy our show. See you next time.